further than Preston before I came to Blackpool. I think I'd only been to Preston once.
I was always ill. Came from Yorkshire and I was always ill. We came to Blackpool and I booked up straight away. So my mother said, well, we'll stay here. Says my father and I stayed in Blackpool. My mother went back home, packed all the furniture up, put it on the van and came back to Blackpool. And we got a house here and we've been here ever since. So I was 9 years old. But Blackpool's a healthy place.
Oh, like wine. You can drink it in, you can feel it when you go to Blackpool. Get on the promenade, you inhale the breath, and it's like wine. You're a new person. You really are. They used to have caravans come in, though, not coaches like they are today. Solid tyres. And they weren't blinking bone shakers at all. Not like they are today, you know. Solid, can you imagine solid tyres on coaches? Oh, God. But you come on the train.
And we came from the mill where I worked on a half-day excursion, as you called them in those days, on the train for 2 shillings. And there was about 30 of us came together.
We put the tin boxes in a luggage van and then dashed to get in a seated train, or most of it to stand up all way.
We had a central station, you know, in those days. We had 3 stations for Blackpool, but Central was the one.
Oh, well, I'd always come, like everybody else, on my holidays. Everybody in Lancashire, I think, spent their holidays in Blackpool because it was such a happy place to come to. There was such a lot going on.
2 and 6 a week. You saved 2 and 6 a week to come to Blackpool.
You saved up for it. That's how you were in those days. You saved up, your mum and your grandmother and grandfather saved up for a week's holiday. They didn't have no holiday pay anything, did they?
You haven't been to Blackpool if you haven't seen the tower. And when you're going on the train, when we were kids, you know, we'd be waiting. I can see the tower. Did all the kids would say, "Oh, tower, look, I see it." All excited, long before you got to Blackpool.
It was a lift, and I think it was 6pence to go up to the top, right to the top, and we went. There was a few shops round, and you could see right from the top, right down. People used to look like little spectres.
I never went up to the tower. Never went up the tower. I didn't want to go up the tower, so I used to say. Not funny.
On pleasure rates.
All sorts of
There
things.
was some imitation, right, full-sized horses, only went forward and backward. Yeah, and they were good, but there were more money than others, but they already were good.
But we're better at Funhouse because you could spend more time at Funhouse for the same price, you know.
It was a while before they got the Big Dipper. I've been on the Big Dipper. But they weren't much on the pressure then. It's like built up year by year.
And then there was a spinning wheel, and you don't sit on, and it was slanted, you know, that was, you get it top end, and it was slanted, and it was all right when it was going slow, but when it started going faster and faster, it used to send you up. That was good.
Sometimes you get a free ride if you screamed hard enough.
Oh, well, when you got free rides...
But if you screamed hard enough, it attracted everybody, and they give us a free ride after, so believe me, the sky was blue, weren't it?
The big wheel, that used to be having sixpence a time. It used to go round quarter way, then stop, then go to the top, back again halfway, down to the bottom. There was about 30 or 40 people they would hold, each more like a caravan nearly.
Yes, what you used to do, you go on the big wheel, but they filled the carriages, you see. It was only sixpence. When the carriage got up, it went up and up, but it kept on going. But you were in about an hour. Well, as it kept going round, up went the carriage, and you were on the top, weren't you? When they got to wait, well, the next one filled, so you come down, and, but you got a glorious view. It's up there.
Most thing we've ever had at Blackpool when we got stuck at Big Wheel.
Top of Big Wheel. We were stuck in there for above an hour.
Isn't the Big Wheel have you a lot of singing?
That's why they pulled it down, because it was always breaking down. And anyway, there were only me and another lass and about another two couples in.
They used to put ladders up on top of the winter gardens to get us, the firemen, to get us down.
They hadn't to work for a week, had the mill girls? Hadn't to work for a full week, had they? And there was all the singing booths on the promenade. They came here to learn all the latest songs and the latest dances.
Every morning, Feldman's had a little kiosk, can I call it? You would call it a kiosk. And they used to be having sheets of music, and they'd have they'd teach you the song, sixpence a sheet.
I was 13. In those days, everybody had a piano, so we used to sell a lot of sheet music. Thousands and thousands of copies were sold. Of a big number one winner would sell at least 80,000.
People used to go in there and buy a sheet. It cost you sixpence. And, of course, you'd sing the songs, and any you liked, they hoped you'd buy it at the end.
Come on, everybody sing it. Just a happy little
But we didn't used to buy the song sheets. We used to take a pencil and paper and write them down. And then if they saw us writing things down, they used to chase us out. And we got to the next one.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I have very great pleasure in presenting to you another of our new numbers.
I think it was just called the Blackpool Carnival Song. It started with a hello, hello, breezy Blackpool. It's Blackpool Carnival time again. Hear the song as you march along. Hey, by gum, it's good as the continent.
Hey, by gum, it's as good as the continent. Hello, 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 breezy Blackpool. Where's your girl? Did you leave her on the train? On and on, let us be found. Put on your fancy powder of Blackpool Carnival same again. You'll have to tell them as I've got a cold. I can't sing when I've got a cold.
People were singing along the promenade. You never heard anything like that today. They were all happy. They'd not a lot of money, but they used to have an awful lot of fun.
The boarding house peoples make you happy. You go in and you're welcome. You know what I mean? They intend, the boarding house people in Blackpool, to give you a good time. And if you don't have a good time, it's your own fault.
I was a landlady from 1942 to 1951.
I came to Blackpool in 1948, and I left guest house in 1969.
I opened a private hotel in Adelaide Street. It's still there, but I believe it's let off in flats now.
My guest house had 6 rooms.
15 bedrooms. I think it was about 35 people, which some of the bedrooms were very big.
10 ordinarily, but the illuminations, they used to be knocking at the door for rooms, and I used to say, I'm sorry, I can't fix any more. And they said, well, we don't mind sharing or anything. I said, oh, don't you? I said, well, I'll have to ask the other people if they mind. Sometimes I had 3 couples in one room with a curtain across. Yeah, and they never bothered. And the lady across the road, she used to take them sitting up all night with their elbows on the table for £0.50 each. Oh, you've no idea what it was like.
If there was an extra couple, and I couldn't fit them in, well, we used to give our bed up from the attic and give it to them, you see. So therefore, that's where you make your money.
Well, the North Pier was the pier to go in. Every Sunday there was always a parade down the North Pier, up and down, you know. And then the Central Pier, it wasn't quite so open as the North Pier. Then the South Pier again. That seemed to be a little bit a way out to get to, you know. But, oh, no, the North Pier was the best.
Well, the North Pier were really one where all the better people used to walk on. On Easter Sunday, they'd all walk on there with their Easter bonnets on.
It was really a fashion parade, walking up and down the pier, because people used to meet one another walking up and down the pier and going dancing. You see, that used to be the high spot of it.
Central Pier.
Central Pier.
Central Pier every time up, because at South Pier, that's where they had that sewage pipes and that, and it weren't as big as Central Pier. At North Pier, not Central Pier used to be best.
Oh, you used to enjoy going up pier.
Oh, we used
They
to
were
go-
dancing, you see.
You went on pier, you'd only to pay a thing where they had dancing and that, and they had a band.
There used to have talent competition there, and the fellow there had a dance band, and he used to do all sorts of what they call antics when he was conducting, kicking his legs, etc. So he said, who'd like to conduct the band? So I said, me. And I go up there, I do all the tricks that he did, kicking my foot. When he kicked the big drum, he kicked his leg and the big drum would bang, comical like, you know. Anyhow, and all the people were clapping me like, oh. He said, well, you've won the first prize here. We're going again. My wife was terribly disgusted with me about this because she was a bit of a prim and proper piece, you know. She said, I'm disgusted with you shutting yourself up like that. What's wrong with that? I've won a prize, haven't I?
It's windy and it's cold, but it's like that everywhere, isn't it? We don't get those terrible floods, you know, where it's washing all the cars and that away. Never. That doesn't happen in Blackpool at all. It could be a lot worse, you know. They say Blackpool's terrible, but it isn't. It's just when you get on the promenade, it's wild and windy.
You'd have a clip on your coat here, and the coat about that long, and the other clip to your straw hat. But if it blew off, it was back again, wasn't it?
Well, what did we wear? What do you mean, what did we wear? Suits and hats and gloves always. When you were dressed up, you never went out without hat or gloves, if you were properly dressed. And they all had to match, you know.
And I'll tell you something they used to do. What we used to do, you'd have your buttonhole here, and this is what you used to have a metal container you could buy for sixpence and keep water in it and put a flower in it so that it would last all day. Now then, that's what they did in those days.
Bathing up.
Don't mention them.
I was following this girl about. I was about 16 or 17. I was just starting hunting. And I used to follow this lass about. I was following her at bathing, man. I was up top stepping to push me down on my ass.
Well, we used to go in a swimsuit and go in the sea. One piece, black and navy blue. That's all they were them days. Not like they are today. Two-piece.
And there's only a little board, like halfway down the bathing van. We were behind that, getting undressed. The horse, it got hitched up, set off, and with it having to pull, the door flew open, all her clothes went onto wet sand. Well, when we come to get dressed after, to go back, the landlady wouldn't let us in because we'd only a towel round us. We'd all the wet clothes there, so she made us stand outside while she threw some water on her feet to get sand off her feet.
I used to go swimming up Blackpool. Is it still here, I wonder? There used to be a swimming bath near the fairground. They used to have it for beauty competitions, I believe. Lean back and let the juice go into your skin and keep rubbing it in till you've got all the juice out of the cucumber. And all the juices go to my forehead. And all under my eyes. I use 3 pieces every night. Yeah? Until it's dry, it's under the skin there. You may laugh at me, but I'm not so bad on it. I've got no wrinkles, have I? Eh? I look at these, I see these old women coming now, and I say to me, you want some cucumber on your face, you do? And I kid them into doing it.
I used to go dancing. I went dancing in the winter gardens every night. When I wasn't working, I was in the winter gardens dancing.
Dancing was very popular with everybody. And, of course, to dance at the ballroom. And let me see, who was the organist then?
What was his name? Reginald Dixon.
Oh, Reginald Dixon.
Oh, it was marvellous. It was packed, and of course there was an MC at each ballroom, who led off the dancing. And they looked lovely because they were all doing the same thing and going the same way.
They had to go round and round. There was no such thing as going across making a detour. You couldn't do that. The MC stopped you.
You learn to be old-time dancing. Not like the old dance today. That's not dancing today, when they're shoving and pushing one another. You learn to be graceful dancing.
I think the Tower Ballroom was the best blow. But the palace came pretty close.
Floor with 1,000 springs it was, the palace.
Well, the schottisch, Lolita, Empress tangos, all the old-fashioned dances. I can't. So many.
Old waltzes, foxtrots, two-steps, lancers. I can't remember.
The lancers and schottis, Chicago mares, all them sort of dances. They're not them sort of dances today. They don't know what lancers is under the rising generation. In fact, they couldn't do it. All they do is that sort of stuff.
Oh, no, mostly you went with your girlfriend and found a boy while you were there, or they would come and ask you to dance, you see. Yes, of course. Then you'd leave them after the dance, or perhaps you'd stay all night with them, you see. And they may bring you home.
I don't know. I never tried picking any up. I never a forward. I was a very shy girl. And there used to be a gang of us old girls, and we used to dance with one another. We wouldn't split up and dance with a boy.
and I only took them if they were recommended. And I had some fine, very good people. I had no drunkards, nobody that went wrong. I had a really good guest house.
And beds were only 1 and 6 a night, and there were no hot and cold water, there's just a jug and a basin.
I only had a toilet outside, no toilet upstairs. And they had to come through the room where we were sleeping to go to the toilet in the backyard if they wanted to go in the night, which was awkward.
It wasn't easy. I like people, but you could get some very awkward people. You can't satisfy people. What pleases one doesn't please another. I had one person walked out because we had fresh salmon for tea on Friday. She said, I don't like that kind of stuff. I like proper stuff, tinned salmon. I don't like that kind of thing.
I used to get into trouble because the women used to like me cooking so much that they fell out with me. They were jealous, and the men said, why don't you cook like this? And it caused a bit of friction, you see, did that. But I carried on, and I got a really good connection. For the first time in my life, I could put a bit of money in the bank.
But when we went to Blackpool, you'd take a load of stuff with you. Food, tinned stuff, anything that would keep. You put it in your box. In fact, there were more food than what there were clothes in your boxes.
They used to take all their own food.
Because you were only better than attendants in them days. The landlady, if she were a good cook, you might get something proper enough for your breakfast. Otherwise, it would either be frizzled up, or else it would be lukewarm. It just depends on your landlady whether you enjoyed your food or not. But you had to buy the food yourself and take it to her the night before what you was having the day after.
Sometimes it was like a harvest festival. Some would bring cabbage, some bring cauliflower, some potatoes and meat, and then you'd cook that for them.
If you've about 10 different families bringing meat in, and one is joint, one has a joint, and one has a piece of pork, and one has chops, and one has sausages, you get very confused. We used to have little metal discs that you put in the meat, the same room as the bedroom was. If it was number 10 bedroom, it was number 10 went in the chops.
At dinner time, for vegetables, you had 3pence for vegetables and 6pence for pudding.
Don't forget cruets.
And
you have to pay for cruets.
About 6pence a week for cruet.
I don't think I charged for the cruet. I didn't agree with that, because everybody has to use salt and pepper, and I never charged for a cruet.
The landlady said, 2pence for the cruet. Pepper and salt. That must have been barmy.
There would be a small charge for the cruet then, anything on the table.
I wasn't one for charging for cruets and all that kind of thing like they used to, 6pence for the cruet and so much for this and so much for that.
Because they used the vinegar and the salt and the pepper, and they had it to buy. That's why they charged 6pence for the cruet.
The greatest variety of illusions, mysteries and marvels, hidden off and in and blissful. Come me the human spider, the head of a girl, a living, breathing, speaking.
We used to have booths all along the back of the stalls and men outside saying, come and see the fattest lady in the world. And people used to go, pay 2pence to go in to see this fat lady.
Fat lady, and somebody never had an outtake for so many days, and all sorts of things like that.
The giant, the longest giant, he was still in his coffin.
A sheep with 5 legs.
A duck with three feet and all that sort, out like that.
The lady that had grew a beard, I can remember that, because I thought it was horrible.
But there were all kinds of freaks on the Golden Mile.
The illumination were new. They were new to people. I'd never seen anything like that in my life before. Moving objects on a big posters, moving objects, all by electricity. It was wonderful.
Autumn is here again, and with it comes the Blackpool illuminations. They have become as famous as...
It was something out of this world. They'd never seen it. Like you see in the atom. See, they see it going into space. To us it was anyway. To my mind it was wonderful, I thought. Blimey.
That's the most fantastic thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm completely speechless.
My husband got a loudspeaker and put it in a baffleboard and stuck it in the corner in the lounge. And then when they wanted to have the wireless on, they would come and say, "Can you switch on for me, please?"
And we used to entertain them at night, because there weren't entertainment like there is now.
There wasn't one person switching on this channel and another person saying, "I want that channel." I switched it on in my living room, and they had what came on.
Well, my daughter played the piano, and I sang for them, and if anybody could do a recitation or anything like that, they used to get up and do it.
We used to entertain ourselves. We could all give a turn. I used to do, by the way, I used to do monologues, Billy Bennett's monologues, and recitations I did. Christmas Day in the Workhouse, or the Road to Monterey and all that stuff. I did. I had a collapsible tall hat that folded. It's true.
So I sold the piano and bought a settee instead, which was more comfortable for the people in the lounge. It gave more comfortable seats. I bought, well, it was a 3-piece suite I bought, so they had more comfort. And like I say, a piano can be a nuisance in a company house, because it's always the people that are not used to a piano that want to tinkle on it, and they really, really get on your nerves. They got on my nerves anyway.
There were Pierrot shows chiefly on the Central Pier and the South Pier.
And we used to open with the, "Come to the show, come to see our show surprising, come a grease wall, soon the curtain will be rising, come to the show, come to the show."
Oh, they used to dress up in Pierrot costumes. Do you remember the Pierrot costumes?
The hats with a pom-pom at the end and ruffles, black and white. Oh, I loved it. Oh.
For the second half, they changed into evening dress. The ladies have lovely evening dresses on. Menfolk in tails, lovely. But, of course, quite a different show to what they are today.
And then we had the various characters. Nellie Gallifant, she looked like an elephant. She was a soprano. Tom O'Brien was one of the comics. And he used to come on, so when you realise how simple it is, he'd come on with a fishing rod, you know. And he looks at the audience and says, "I've been fishing." And what the hell do you think he was doing? Playing snooker. He says, "I'll sing you a song, shall I?" "Right. Do you want it?" "Righto." About fishing? Yeah. "Has anyone seen my tiddler? Tiddle-iddle-iddle-iddle-da-da-da."
They'd throw something like Rotten Tomato. Hi. It was a bad turn. It'd got to be a good turn, I'll tell you.
Well, it really was quite an honour to say you played Blackpool, because, you see, Blackpool paid very good fees, and frankly, they could pick and choose.
It threw the tomato at them, and it wouldn't reach the stage. It reached the back of the neck of the audience, sat in the front. These posh people sat there, posh like they threw at the back of the neck. It had missed the artist because it wasn't high enough.
But you couldn't say damn. You couldn't say anything that in any way reverted to sex. Now, I mean, some gags I used to do, when I realised how corny they were, now we'd talk about your mother-in-law, you know. My mother-in-law, she's so fat, you know what happened? If she rolls over twice, she'd be in St. Anne's. You know, things like that, you see.
Well, naturally, if you're only all about 18 and 19-year-old, if you meet a boyfriend and you like him and he likes you, it goes forward, doesn't it? Because they used to get engaged before they were married then, you know. They didn't go just to get married the next day and then split up in about 3 days after. It used to be quite a thing, the courtship.
Well, we couldn't do so much in the open air, could we? No, we used to, sit out on the sands and all, gather together and have a lot, like they do, just getting a cut, you might say. But that was about all. And then they was transferred to France.
Well, in those days, they once used to grab fellas. They would, you see, their boyfriends had been to the war. And a lot of them didn't come back. Do you understand me? They'd lost their sweethearts in the war, hadn't they? So they'd been without boys for 4 years. So they were looking for husbands. And you don't tell him, they used to say, don't tell him my name, Tom.
So the 4 of us, 4 girls, still came Saturday evening, because it was older then, was 18 then, came on the 6 o'clock train to meet these 4 boys, and then we'd go back on the late train.
Just flashed my eyes. How do you do? Good evening. I come in the ballroom. I'll say, we don't like an ice cream, so we used to go to Pavlov's. I don't know, I forget where it was. And you'd get a damn big ice cream for a tanner. Yeah. We never short the girls when I was a young man. They used to fall for me, I'm afraid of it.
When you started charging,
the best place of Blackpool, we're down at South Shore, weren't we?
South Shore.
Snogging. Get a block and get him down there, you were okay then. Especially if you got in a holler. It weren't it?
We used to go there. Then go and have a bit of a cuddle if I had up on the sandals. Oh, that's all going in. It's true that. We weren't the only ones, There's boys and girls, the young men, you go up there. There were no promenade, there. It was sandhills. And a little cuddle where the waves used to live, a little cuddle. Sit there, and have a little cuddle, Not bad.
Stiletto heels were just coming out when I was about 14. And on the pier, there was some nicks, Well, if we got me a boy, as we like, we used to make sure as a shoe got past him this, so we could grab hold of him. It was smashing, I'll tell you. But under the pier, there used to be all sorts going on under the pier, didn't there?
I used to hear about people going underneath the pier, and then, anyhow, when I met this Blackpool lad, of course he must have been under the pier before, so we were having a walk along the prom, and he said, come on, let's go down the steps and walk on the sands. So it was a lovely night. It was about autumn time. It was going dark about 8 o'clock, Anyhow, there were couples all over the place underneath the pier, He said, shall we sit down a bit?
I never saw that, but something like that must have happened, because they'd go where it was quiet, wouldn't they? They'd go on the sands where it was quiet in the evening if the tide was out. A nice fresh place to sit down and have a kiss and cuddle, I suppose.
But you see, they were out of the way. See anybody looking over the wall, especially if you came near the wall, nobody could see you, because they couldn't see right down, you see. And they're near the wall, so it was always near the wall where all the fun was going on, you see. But it's still the same. If you go down there in the summer now, you see it's just the same.
If there was a fella started fiddling, the girls would tell another man, they'd tell the other girls, and he was out. You know what I mean? He was shunned straight away. Any fella started, one thing about my friends, my boyfriends, I never knew one of them to do anything or say anything suggestive or do anything to any of the girls. We used to dance with these girls. That's why they liked us, because we were straight.
He was out of work at the time. Then he got a job on the trams, then was a conductor on the trams. And when he went to, they used to run to Squire's Gate. And when he was on that route, he used to drop off at the street where I lived and come and see me about 11 o'clock at night. I used to have to sneak out and see him in the wash house at the back.
Actually, I had my honeymoon in Blackpool, my second honeymoon. Also my third. I know you said the fourth then, didn't I? always hope.
Well, I must have liked him because I married him. But I was disappointed, really. It wasn't what I thought it would be like.
They didn't give you a key out like that. You had to be in at a reasonable time, before midnight.
No, they could come when they liked. About 12 o'clock was late enough for anybody, unless they told me they were a late show or anything like that.
Oh, I wouldn't allow a key for them. No. That's danger. That's dangerous if you allow a key. They come in at 10 time of the morning, won't they?
Well, I used to like them to be in by 11 o'clock, but in some cases they were late-night dances. They went, but they used to say, could I go to a late-night dance, will it be all right? And I gave them the door key, or I would stay up and wait for them. It just depended whether they were young and frivolous, and I used to wait up for them.
Well, I used to try and ask them to be in, not later than midnight, because I never got to bed before then, so it didn't matter if they were in before 12.
Oh, 10 o'clock. Yeah. Or else the door would be locked on you.
They could all have a cup of tea up to 11 o'clock, but not after 11. They don't want to go straight up to bed.
I'll tell you what I like Blackpool. You'll go to other resorts, and what you look on the promenade anywhere, and you see they walk along the dark, blasted solemn. They call it holiday. But you don't see that at Blackpool. Everybody has a good time.
I don't think it's as good now for fun as it used to be, They really came for fun, and they had a lot of money to spend, and you see, people don't go on the sand and that like they used to. I mean, they used to spend all full days on the sand and just go up for jugs of tea. You could buy jugs of tea out of the stalls and that. All that's all done away with now.
Why do I still live here? Because I like it. I still like it. Yeah, I do.
Is that right, you know?
Enough is enough, Peter.